Welcome to another episode of Hood Games. I'm your host, the 40-year-old gamer, and let's just get into it, man. I'm gonna tell y'all this deep Genesis story that I got that happened to me in the past, and I'm just gonna share it with y'all today, man. Take y'all back to 1989 when I was hanging out with some friends in the neighborhood, and we had this friend that used to come in our neighborhood. This guy that used to come in our neighborhood and hang out with us or whatever, he was a friend of ours too. He went to school with us and everything, but he didn't live in our neighborhood. But he lived in the neighborhood like right next to ours. So, anyways, me and some friends basically waited until he went to school one day. And I'm gonna just make it clear, man, he was a good friend. So, I'm gonna be honest, I felt like he was more of a friend than even my friends in my neighborhood. But anyways, man, what we did was we waited until he went to first he had got the Sega Genesis when it first came out. His mom got him the Sega Genesis, and I remember she got him like Revenge of Shinobi, and so he had Sonic and something else, but I know that Revenge of Shinobi was so fucking dope, man. And I was just like, golly, man. So, it was like I let my friends convince me to basically wait till he go to school. Like, we waited a couple days later and waited till he went to school. Then we went over there and basically went into his house when he wasn't there, and we took his Sega Genesis and we took the games or whatever. So like I say, like a day later, he shows up at my house and he's asking me like, have I heard anything or anybody that's supposed to took a Sega Genesis or whatnot, because somebody broke in my house and stole my Sega Genesis. And at this time, it's like I was just like, nah, man, I have no idea, man. But the thing was, man, is that we had two Sega Genesis. Well, we had one Sega Genesis, but with that one we had two. But he always knew that I had a Sega Genesis, so when he seen my Sega Genesis, he ain't never tripped or nothing, because he always knew I had a Sega Genesis. So that, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that is some bullshit to do. I don't care if it's not even your friend, man. Don't ever do that bullshit, man. That's some bullshit, man. That was some bullshit, and I'm gonna tell you straight up, man. Anybody that's doing that shit, get the fuck away from anybody that's doing that type of shit, man. You don't want to be around them people right now, man. Because when you're young, man, in your teens, especially your early teens, mid-teens, and even late teens or whatever, man, you can make a lot of dumb choices. I'm put it to you that way, man. You can make a lot of fucked up choices, and I made a fucked up choice. So let's fast forward 1991. A family member came to me and my brother, and at this time we had the Sega Genesis, but we had about 60 games. And man, like, we love the Sega Genesis, man. Like, we always played it, like almost every day, man. We played it. We took turns on it, and we learned how to share it, and we played it every day. But anyways, the family member came over one day and said that he was having some money trouble, and he really desperately needed our help, and that could we pawn the Sega Genesis and all the games so he could get the money, and he would basically bring, he would give us $20 a piece, and he would go and pay for our Genesis and get our Genesis and all our games back, like within a week, when he get his check or whatever. So basically, we waited a week, never showed up. We waited another week, never showed up. Then me and my brother started trying to get in contact with him, trying to just find out where he was, because he was like, man, like, this what, like, damn, like, we really want our Sega Genesis back. But anyways, man, to cut a long story short, man, we never seen it again. So, we had to cut our losses on that. Yeah, we was a little down about it, we was a little salty about it. But at the same time, his family, and I guess at that time, he was really, really desperate even to get over on, us, as being young teenagers. But anyways, let's fast forward a year later, 1992. I had a family member had a little cousin that liked to play, video games. He liked to play with Sega Genesis or whatever. But he was, they was poor. He was really young. He was a lot younger than us, and his family, his parents couldn't afford a Sega Genesis at the time. So one day I decided to, I went over there, said what's up to him or whatever. He was happy to see me. He was always happy to see me. But I went over there and I let him borrow, I brought my Sega Genesis. And at this time we had about 15 games. Me and my brother had about 15 games. And I decided to let him use it for a day or two. I told him that, he can use it, just take care of it, and, I'll be back to get it in a day or two. Now, let me remind you, he's only like 8, 9 years old at this time, man. So, basically, I left later on that day. After me and him gamed it for a minute. I gamed it with him. Then I left. I had to get back in the house before I had to get back home before dark. So, or I'd be in trouble. So, anyways, a couple days later, I decided to walk back over there. I walk in the house and I see them sitting on the couch. Him and his siblings sitting on the couch. I say what's up to them. They say, hey, how you doing? And I asked them, all right, man, I'm finna come pick up the game. Where the game at? And it was just silent. The whole room was silent. So I'm like, I'm already squinting my eyes like, what's going on? Like, where the game at? Nobody was saying nothing. So I just started thinking in my head, like, you know what, man? I went into where I had set the game up at, and it was gone. And it was, I searched the rooms. I searched the rooms, searched the kitchen, bathroom, wherever I could. Searched the living room. The game was nowhere to be found. None of my games, the system, everything was gone. So I didn't blame it on him because I knew he's just a young kid. At the time, like I said, he was only like 8, 9 years old at the time, and I had to be about 16, something like that, 15, 16. Anyways, basically, nobody said nothing. I couldn't find my game. Man, I was so sick about it, man. So I had to go home that night. Before that night came, before the sun got down, I had to get back home. And my only one I told was my brother. And I told, when I told him, he was in shock as well. Like, he couldn't believe this happened. But at the same time, we just basically kept it to ourselves. Like, we wasn't going to let nobody know that this happened. That's the thing, man. Me and my brother, we always kept it a secret, man. We never let anybody know what had happened to us when we were that, young or whatever. We never let anybody know that all that happened to us. We never let our parents know, or none of our siblings or nothing like that. We never let them know. We just kept it to ourselves. That way it wouldn't be no feud, no fight, nobody get hurt or nothing like that. And later on, we just decided that we wasn't gonna borrow our systems out no more. Yeah, the only way people got a game system from me or any games after that, those incidents is I had to give it away. I had to not want it no more. That was the only way somebody was gonna get a system or a game out of me after that, because it was like, man, these are a couple people that I trusted the most, because they were family, and at the same time, karma is real, man, and karma came back on me, man, for what I did to one of my friends. My own family came and did it to me twice. So, I'm just here to say, man, that if you doing shit like that, man, please stop, man, before you be confessing to some fucking body one day, man. Anyways, that was my Deep Genesis story. If you like the video, subscribe, hit that like button, and until next time, y'all too old to be playing video games.